to Draw Cartoons with John-Marc. Hey, it's John-Marc, and welcome to my series on teaching you how to draw cartoons. Today's episode, I have 3 little cartoons that I want to share with you. The first one is going to be a little robot. Very creative, and feel free to use your own style on that one. The next one is going to be a little birdie getting ready to go fishing. Now that's a nice fun one. And the third one is going to be a shark. So if you have your paper and pencil, I think we're ready to begin today's lesson. All right, let's begin today's lesson on how to draw this cute little cartoon robot. I'm going to be working with my mechanical pencil only, and it's going to be a really simple cartoon. It's basically shaped or very simple for kids in preschool and in kindergarten class. So use your imagination and feel free to change the shape and create your style with it. I just have basically create the head there, the body, and the arms. The little robot, he's going to be like floating in the air, but you may want to have him have wheels underneath there. However, basic shapes, as you can see here, very simple. And I'm just adding very quickly all the elements first. These are like the little legs hanging in the air. He's actually floating once again. And this is like step number 1, really quick sketching, nothing to be too critical about. And let's give an area for his little face. Okay, this is more like a digital one, so it's not like a robot head inside of a helmet. I'm thinking more like a digital, like if it was like an iPhone, iPad type of character. And I'm just using my imagination and just creating different shapes that might be give this little robot more element to it. Very smooth, no hard edges in this case. You may want to make a boxy one. Yes, you may want to play with shapes that are square, round, and triangle. And even so, some of the little patterns on the little robot you can have on there. So here's like a little triangle and just like an arrow pointing down, like little stickers that are on there. There we go. Just working that one out there. That's good. And just keeping the eyes closed. And feel free if you want to make a mouth in there too. This would be a real fun one to animate, thinking of that. And basically all that I would really do is have that little character floating and some of the objects on his arms and legs bouncing around. And his eyes and face could have different expressions. I'm just seeing that in my head. That helps to use your imagination, as you can see. And as you can follow through, what I'm doing right now is just using my creativity and just playing on the patterns and textures on the body. Here, the little robot is actually floating above, so I'm just going to have like a little shadow. What's your environment of the little robot? Is he or she hanging on this outer space, or is the character like in a city or inside of a house? This could be like a little butler robot and so forth. Whatever you use your imagination, just think about the type of element that they may be flying in or working in. That's kind of fun, using your imagination and playing up with the background, of course. So from here, I'm going to step 2. As you can see, once again, a little bit tighter with my lines and heavier, working with the number 2B lead. Really important. I like that one is because it's really soft. You just have to watch your hand when it's palming down on the paper. You can easily smudge it a little bit, but that doesn't bother me. I just like the softness of the 2B. All right, and just getting a little bit more detail with the body there. And working around the head now. As you can see, I have the paper upside down, making it once again, if you heard me from time to time, easier to turn and make my hands be able to easily feel comfortable in sketching out like the elements. The first time, step 1, I didn't really worry about too much due to the fact that it was just a real simple sketch. But now when I'm fine tuning it, let's make sure that curves and feels and angles might be a little better. Turn the paper so it's easier on your hands and on your arm. Now, what color do you see? Is it made out of metal or like a plastic? Does it have a chrome finish where it's high polished, or is it the plastic more of a flat, dull look on there? And have on there? Is it look brand new? Is it very old and aged on there? Does it have elements from like a little worn and torn elements, like it's really worn down, like little nicks, scratches, and so forth. These are textures that are fun to play on when you are coloring it. And this little basic shape here is just an obvious little shape. This could be like a little drawer that pops down on there. I'm thinking more the mouth would still be in where the eyes are. And this is like another little old-fashioned TV monitor where it'd be once again making sounds or showing videos on there. Okay, there you go. Just like a little outline area. Have like a little button on the side there. That little circle one right here. There you go. All right, and I'm just going to shade in on the side panel. Now, what I thought here was I'm going to stop on the bottom. So the tops are going to be kind of dark, and on the sides going to be on the pretty dark, but in the middle, I'm going to shade it a little lighter. So it has like a two-tone. Same thing, watch the curvature here on the arm, how I went really tight on the far edge, and then when it came higher on the curve, I gave more space, and that kind of gives the illusion of that whole transition of that shading. The same thing on the side here. It kind of shows it's kind of curved, where this one here can kind of show like it's a little flatter depending on the shading. And let's add some more on the bottom of the little feet there. Looking good. Looking good. Get that little element there. Okay, a little bit line there, two pieces or so forth. Okay, let me just sketch that in like it's a highlight. Okay, highlight there. Little highlight over on the top of the shoe there. Okay, right there. All right, that's looking good. That should create a little line on the bottom there on the belly, like another little geometric shape that created this little robot character. And that could be a different color altogether, as well as arms there. This basic shape. Okay. Let me just see what else can we do. Yeah, let's get like a little horizon line there in the background. And the perspective, it was like on a grid coming towards you. Really simple. And as always, I think we're just about done. Make sure you sign and date, share with your family and friends. I hope you enjoy this lesson. Now that was a fun lesson on that little robot, wasn't it? What did you do different? Changing the shape? Maybe you added a scenery in the background, a futuristic one, or maybe he was on a planet. Whatever you do, using your imagination is a key thing for that one, and experiment. After this lesson is over with, you might want to go back to this one and really explore that robot. So stay tuned for our next lesson. Hey, welcome back to the show on how to draw cartoons, and me, John-Marc, and I'm excited to share this next lesson with you of the little cute little bird. He's going fishing. So all you guys that like to go fishing, and gals, get your paper and pencil ready. So let's begin. All right, so let's begin the lesson, and as you notice, I will be using my mechanical pencil only. And as I'm just working out the form of this little cartoon character, in this case, feel free to change and explore your style and use your imagination, of course. And as you saw in the opening screenshot, the finished one, as you can see, he's going to be holding a fishing rod by a pond. So when you're drawing out this little character right now, you may want to think about the landscape or the area in the background that this little character is in. This kind of can just use your imagination while you are sketching it out. So as you can see, I just have him with a big beak, basic square shape right there, very sketchy and very light right now. And what I did prior to doing this lesson, this was another step-by-step class that I've have done in the past with just showing the steps but not actually drawing it. This is actually one that I'm actually working on the actual character. So this had been thought out previously before this video. And sometimes I do that with a lot of my lessons to make it easier for me instead of just like randomly just creating a little character. And in this case, feel free to experiment and research on some birds in some bird books and actually see that their structure and then totally customize it. And that's the fun part. All right, so as you can see, I had like two little feathers on the top, having his arm, his wing, may I say, on the side there. And now this is right where the fishing rod is going to be, and his hand just holding on to it. He's angry because he has to go fishing. He can't have any ice cream. That's why he's all upset. All right, so what the typical fishing rod could look like with a little hook at the end, just simple. If you don't know what it looks like, a fishing rod or a hook, once again, go online or check in some books and see what they actually look like and do some sketching and some doodling prior to doing your little creativity. And say now you created this the little character with the bird and the fishing rod, and you didn't like the fishing rod. That's okay, you can go back and edit it later and do some research on it. So don't have to stop and then come back to your picture. Just move it along. Don't stop and then come back later when you want to do some more research. Now I have just completed my first step, and I'm coming to my next and final step of drawing the sketch, and going to go a little heavier, as you can see, and adding a little bit more direction. Not using my eraser at all. Not worried about any overlines or underlines or whatever you want to say. And just feel free to make them darker and just kind of forming it out a little bit more. Noticing again, as I rotate the paper, makes it a lot easier. Now, see the beak, how I curve that on the top? It's not a straight line. That's really important because that gives the element that the type of curvature. It's not super curvy and it's not flat, but it has a little roundness to it. If it was totally flat, you would think it'd be like a piece of paper. If I made it really curvy, it could be as round as a ball by just adding those lines. So let's work on his eyebrow. They're making them really big and dark. What colors do you see this character, the little bird in there? All right, let's get the little other feather on the top. You can even put him like a little hat on there. I'm just thinking like the old fisherman's hat. And he has a whole bunch of lures on there, the fishing hooks in there too. All right, his eye there on the side. Yeah, there's nose and the body right there. Very, very angular body. So this is a very, very angle. It's not so smooth in some of the other ones you've seen me work on. Bubbly, should I say, in this case. Feel free to use your shapes again. Again, practice looking at stuff and see the breakdowns of the different forms that they actually look like, meaning the shapes. Are they curved? Are there angles? In this case, like even like his little chest there, it's very angled on the top there. And his little top of his little hand there hanging down there for wing once again. Let's make the fishing rod end very big. You're not going to see the spool. Here's a little tip. Sometimes if you don't know what something may look like, I have an understanding what the fishing rods look like. I used to fish a lot. I loved it. But you could hide it on the other side and don't have to worry about the whole reel, which makes it a lot easier. So if you had it in the foreground arm, you may want to add the fishing rod. But just to make it easier right now for you guys, I just eliminate that by putting it on the other side. And that's just by choice right now. Here's his little web feet on the other side there. He might want to wear shoes, or he might even have like short pants on, and he might have some more stuff that he's carrying for his fishing trip that he's on. Did he catch a fish? He could actually have a fish on that hook, a little tiny, tiny one, not a big one, and maybe that's why he's all upset. And as you see, when I'm shading, I start very far apart, not so super near each other. That gives that hole, like right here, really tight, close together, and a little bit more pressure. A lot bigger there shows the difference. One's lighter and one is darker. Let's get that chain a little like he has like a shirt on. So this color could be like a royal blue. I'm just thinking right now. All right, and that's the little stomach there. All right, so when thinking about all these things, let's figure out what the landscape is going to be. I'm just going to create a random area, maybe like a little pond in front of him, and some hills and some shrubs in the background. So just quickly, just using your imagination and how it would actually play out and look. Not working on anything, but just out of the top of my head right now. So, okay, a little hill over here. Okay, not always straight. A variety of different shapes of shrubs all over. That's looking good. I like that. And like right where here would be right where the rim of the water would meet the land area. So this whole area right there is all the water area right down here. Very good. Yeah, I like cattails. I think these are fun. So let's add a few of these in here. I like that. That one's looking good too. Looking good. I like that. Nice, nice. Got it randomly. And I didn't do it, but you know what? I'm thinking maybe even break one down or like one's like all blown off. How they actually and tip again. What does a typical swamp or lake looks like? Once again, check out your books, do some research, and see the type of elements like a broken branch hanging in the water, sticking out there, a frog, or two eyeballs for an alligator. Use your imagination. In this case, I didn't do any of that, but you may want to. See, here's the side of the rocks right here looking good. And at this time, make sure you sign and date, share with your family and friends, and I hope you enjoy today's lesson. Now that was a fun lesson on teaching you how to draw that little birdie fishing. What did you do different? Did you change the style? Maybe the expression? Or did you add a fish on the hook? Or maybe he didn't get a fish, he got a basket of something. Whatever it is, using your imagination and exploring how to sketch better is a key thing. So if you like this lesson, stay tuned for the next one. Hey, welcome back to my show and teaching you how to draw cartoons. I'm excited to share this next lesson because it's a shark, and as you may know, I love drawing fish. This one's not going to be too challenging, but definitely I want you to use your imagination and understand that whole sketching technique once again. So, if you have your paper and pencil, I think we're ready to begin this lesson. All right, let's begin. I'm going to be using my blue pencil just to give me the basic form and outline, and I'll be following it with my mechanical pencil. Now, this shark is a very interesting one because it has a long tail in the back. Very long tail and a small little head in the front. Feel free to use your imagination and be creative. And as I always say from time to time, when you're working on these little projects, you may want to actually look on the internet or find a book on fish, in this case, sharks, and see what they actually look like. There's a ton of them out there, and you can transform them into your style of cartoon. Very easy and very fun. You get to learn about them at the same time. All right, so I'm just customizing him right now with his nose there, and let's get his little mouth in there. Really quick shape for his body, not much detail in this one right now, and the form is very, very straightforward. All right, let's get a round eye. You can even, I'm making him happy. You can make him angry, give him a little bit more of a frown on him if you wanted to. All right, and let's get the eyebrow on the top there and one in the back. All right, those little nose, a little bit. Yeah, that's better. I like that. And see, I'm not even erasing whatsoever. This is a two-tone, so I'm kind of playing up with the dark part, and his belly is normally white. And all right, there's those little nostrils there. Now let's get a little cut in the back of the fin there. Straighten that up a little bit better. Okay, and he does have long, long side fins, believe it or not. They're pretty big. All right, to the back of the tail, a little short one on the bottom there. And then that long whip in the back. Very, very long. I'm going to be like a little rip mark in it. There we go. All right, good, 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 good. And you see, this is almost like the second step that I was doing with the drawing, because the first one I just got the form all together, really on there. And no erasing again. Now I'm just going to be coming back over with my mechanical pencil and beginning to go a little slower, a little bit more detail. And let me correct that nose a bit. I want to get more of a point to it. Kind of almost like a great white. How I'm looking in my feel of it. And then there's the back of his body right there. All right, that looks good. Clean sweep underneath his belly. Where do you see your little shark? Do you see other little baby fish around him, or is he munching around, enjoying his time in the water, in the big ocean? All right, let's get that fin on the side there, a little bit sharper on the bottom, not so curved. That's better. That's better. Yeah. Again, I'm not even erasing those blue lines whatsoever. I'll just leave them there because this is just sketching right now. And let's get this fin on the other side, and let's make it. I gotta shade that one in soon. All right, let me get the bottom one in first here. Little baby. There we go. Very simple. Very simple. Sharks and fish are very easy to draw, to learn in the very beginning, because They don't have arms or legs, where people and animals have that element that sometimes it's tricky for everybody. So for encouragement, a lot of my drawing classes, when I go touring, I actually do mostly on fish. And that's also because I have a series called Friend Fish I'm working on. He's not one of the buddies in there, but this is just a little lesson I wanted to share at the top of the dorsal fin. There we go. There we go. I like that. All right. And let's get his shadowing. So this is like a kind of like stealth. So why do they have a white belly and they're dark on the top? And the purpose is for that they actually are like that you can't see him. So if a fish underneath looks straight up, he sees white, and a fish looking down, he'll see dark. It's like a little camouflage for the shark. All right, let's get his little eyebrow on the top there. Okay, that's good. And the other one, I'm just going to shade that one in the back. All right, yeah, let's shade this one here. So this shading here, I'm going to go really tight on the top, and I'm going to go lighter, lighter, lighter all the way to the bottom. Open it up a little. And let's get him some of his little fins on the side so he can breathe out there. Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah, these looking good right now. I like that. I'm just going to create some basic bottom shape down there. Let's create some seaweed. Okay, just quickly and just put them random there. And I'm not going to pull out my blue pencil for this at all right now. I'm just going to pull out the pencil. There we go. And just easy sneezy pull them up there. All right, just randomly putting them across left and right. Little ones, big ones, angle them. And what else do you have? Maybe some rocks. Yeah, I could see some rocks all over on the bottom there. Tall, small ones. And this is something that you can feel very creative yourself. And feel free to use your imagination and what these rock shapes could be like. Or, once again, do some reference. Pull up on the internet, or if you have some books on coral reef or the bottom of the ocean, and see what it looks like. All right, let's give him some bubbles, of course. He's swimming, so just moving little bubbles randomly, big, small, on top of over, just like they're moving around. There we go. On that side of the back of his fin there. I think that's pretty good. I'm enjoying that. So as always, when you get to this spot, let's sign and date and share with your family and friends.
Now, wasn't that fun lesson how to swim? No, not swim, how to draw. I know it's a shark. Anyway, so what did you do different with that little shark? Did you change the expression? Did you make him a little bit bigger, skinny, or change the scenery in the background? Whatever you did, using your imagination and the sketching technique, are you learning how to start very lightly and go a little bit darker and darker? And practicing that, that is the key thing, of course. And what about that little robot? Are you going to explore and do different types of robots now? Because you can fully use your imagination on that one. And what about that bird? Did you figure out what he was carrying on his little fishing rod at the end? I'm not so sure myself. Maybe it was a box of ice cream. Yeah, why not? So my website is jmg-studio.biz. Thank you for watching this lesson today, and have a great day.